मोहिनी जी, आप कैसी हैं? आर यू इन ए पोजिशन टू टॉक?
हाँ जी।
हम्म। तो ये 20-21 दिन की हीलिंग में आपको कैसी लग रही है?
बहुत अच्छे लग रही है।
बहुत अच्छी लग रही है।
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। That's why I look forward to joining all these things. Yes.
By the way, it is not always good to ask a lady's age, but by the way, what is your age?
I feel I feel more younger and more energetic.
Wonderful.
Yes. It's healed my body very well. I always bless you for whatever you have done for us. Not only me, all of us. In the group, we all are one in all.
See, it is like this. I was, when I look at my own life, I do not see myself worthier than others. I was a very ordinary person, but I was fortunate that I met my guru and she opened the window for me. So I kept on meeting one master after another. And I also got access to some of my past lives. So I began to see the master or the guru not just as a human being, but as a principle of grace. And that principle of grace is working in everybody's life.
Yes.
If we become aware of that, then our life begins to change. And whatever is the last thought that we have when it is time to say goodbye to this world,
Exactly. Yes.
that will decide what kind of life,
Karma you have
what
it.
kind of
True.
birth are we going to get.
Exactly.
So, I was in a government job in my working years, and I was doing a job whereby we could cause trouble to people. There was a lot of potential of causing trouble to people. And then I understood why I was put there. Because in some lifetime, I had this very intense desire to experience authority. What it is like having some authority over other people. But because I had the grace of the masters with me, I also learned that this authority business is very tricky. And unknowingly, we cause a lot of damage to other people's lives. And this in turn comes back to haunt us as our karma. So it is very important to be in a state where one tries to be an instrument of the least damage. It is not always possible and not easy. But these are some of the lessons I had. And then I also become aware of some of the wrong things I had done in other lifetimes. And to get out of the karmic consequence created by those wrong actions, it is important for me to serve. And
But, but do you know how much you have done for us?
no,
At least I can say
that
both
is
for
that is
myself.
that is part of the seva. See, that is what
Yeah,
I
but
wanted to
your
talk.
Shiva is a good seva for us. Like I'm telling
It
you,
is. It is.
I had a guru when I was 6. At 12 years old, I didn't know what a guru is. My mother and father told me, if they're guru, I'm a Sindhi. They said, now you make a guru, he's going to be a guru, okay? So he told me, he showed me, he used to give me Brahm Gyan. My age of 16, innocent, out of India, born, brought up, come to India, and Indian people are very strong, and I was very innocent. Listening to him, I could not follow anything, but I liked it. And I had said to myself, I vow to God, I have to have a guru or a person who can teach me all this what I cannot understand. And then only I can go. I can come to you, otherwise I'm not coming. Well, he is not to call me. Unknowingly, I said all this. So, and I don't have to go to him. He'll have to come to me. And where do I come? Where the guru comes to you? And here, to make the story short, you have come to me. As a guru or a teacher or a whatever come as, I can say, you have come to me, I'm home, and I'm doing it, and my wish has come true. That's one of the best thing in what I had wished. And
It is like this, that anybody who is here, not just I am connected to that person, but all these people who are here, they are connected to one another.
yes, they are all interconnected to one another.
Interconnected.
Yes.
So in some
Whether
lifetime,
we know one another or not, we are connected.
whether
Bilkul.
we know it or not, we have been connected,
Yes,
and
yes.
that is how this group has come together. And you look at it, we made a WhatsApp group. There are about 200 persons there. How many come to attend the sessions? Very few. So it
जिसे
is like,
भाग्य में लिखा है वो ही आएगा.
हाँ, जिसके भाग्य में लिखा है या जिसको अंदर से रिकॉग्निशन होगी वो आएगा.
नहीं, मैंने दो लोगों को दिया, फ्रेंड्स को, लेकिन it was not their time, so they just okay. I gave them,
It's all
but
right.
it has
You have
it's
done.
a
You have
calling.
done your job.
Yeah, I did my job. It's a calling. Is there? They will come. Maybe they'll come later, where they find you or someone else capable to do whatever to be done.
That is, their masters will decide.
Exactly. That's
Else,
whoever. It's
whoever.
when the calling comes, whoever is there will help them.
भाई
And
साहब, मैं दुरू बोल रही हूँ.
हाँ, दुरु बोलिए.
आपसे पहली बार जब आपको सुना था, आपसे मिली थी, तब इंस्टेंट कनेक्शन फील किया था.
जी.
और ये मोहिनी जी बोल रही हैं.
हाँ.
We have been friends for a long time, but I haven't met her in years, so I'm so happy to see her.
Yes.
Moini,
Right. Guru
I'm
is a
Duru.
good friend.
Duru
Right.
Gada.
Previously, she did not
Yes.
speak to me at all. But this time, when I was starting this series, then he sent me a message on WhatsApp, sharing her experience from the previous healings. So that is why I was sort of encouraged to speak to her today.
I had a problem in my legs.
Yes.
So I wrote to you because of my legs are feeling much better, more healthier.
Mm.
I stay alone. So it's easy for me to get up early and do whatever I have to do.
Quite a challenge. Okay.
Yes.
And Sneha ji is here.
It's
Sneha ji,
God's grace.
are you there? Sneha ji, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Pranam, sir. Pranam.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Would you like to share your experience of healing, which you
Yeah.
shared with me last year, of
Last year,
walking without the stick?
my stories are too long, but in short, I'll say that my life has changed. I'm a much calmer person. I have a lot of understanding now, and spiritually, I am noticing I'm getting such beautiful insights and visions that they're not funny. Like I'll share with you all last Guru Purnima, which is the latest one. I It was Guru Purnima night, and at 3 o'clock, it was not a dream. It was an experience, and I see Nityanand Baba, my Guru, entering me in my heart. I see a little apartment in my heart in which Baba comes and stays, and it's a very simple apartment in which he's lying down on the floor, and I ask him for seva. I said, Baba, can I help you? So he says, no. And then I suddenly see him on the original bench that he used to lie down, the wooden plank. Simple, simple, simple. It's just a plain cloth on the wooden bench, and he's lying down, and he's so happy. And and I offer him a rajai, red one, and he takes that, and he's so happy. He eats food from my hand. He walks around, and he goes to the restroom, and then he walks with me to the balcony where I show him a little sea. I say, Baba, this is here. And then he lies down back again, and so happy, as if, I am come here to stay. And he was alive, that whole thing was so alive. And remember, it was Guru Purnima, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why do I deserve that? I don't know. But all because of God Sahib and all of his blessings. I'm having cannot ask for more than this. That he has come to stay in me alive, and I'll always be there with you. That's my growth, from I came in with God Sahib about 3 years back, absolutely devastated.
No, it is not that you came in contact with me and something happened. For those who do not know her, Snehaji has been in touch. Has been in Siddha Yoga all her life, and
Yeah.
she had the great good fortune of being with Baba Muktanand for many years.
Yeah.
Long before Baba Muktanand handed over the succession to Guru Mai. I met Guru Mai only in 1989, much later, and received Shaktipat from her. But it was a very amazing experience because I never wanted to meet a master. I was a very so-called rational human being. I had a questioning mind, and I thought all gurus are running their businesses. But then perhaps my time has come, so I had developed this question: who am I? What is my purpose in this life? And for some reason, I was not happy. I was doing a good job. I had good recognition. People respected me for what I was. I had a wonderful wife. She was also very successful in her own right. She used to be an actress, very active in the Bombay theater scene. Everything was fine, but on the outside, even though everything was okay, I had this kind of a constant search. I felt incomplete. And there was this question coming up again and again: who am I? What is my purpose in life? And I did not know that this is some of my good karmas from previous life are becoming active, and that is why this search is starting for me. But at the same time, I was very rational, so-called rational, and I had this question about the gurus. I used to make fun of them. And when this thought arose or question arose, then at some point of time, a book on Vipassana fell into my hands. I read that book, and I was attracted to Vipassana for the simple reason that Gautam Buddha had said that you be your own master, be your own lamp. So I thought, okay, at least Gautam Buddha says that you do not require a guru. So I read that book. I registered for a Vipassana program, but twice I registered and I could not go. And there was my stenographer in the office, my secretary. And she was a devotee of Guru Mai, and Guru Mai came in her dream and told her that जो तुम्हारा साहब है उसको इधर लेकर आना. So she told me कि I had this kind of dream. The Guru says अपने साहब को लेकर आओ. Then I thought that maybe she is making up stories just to impress me. I didn't go. Then somebody else came and spoke to me about it, another person from the office. I didn't go. But this person was persistent. She went to Guru Mai and told her कि हमारा साहब है उसको इधर आना चाहिए, संयोग बन नहीं रहा है. And Guru Mai just thought for a moment and she said उसको बाबा का किताब ले जाकर दो. So Baba Muktanand had written a book which was about his spiritual journey, and he gave it the name Chit Shakti Vilas. In English it is available as Play of Consciousness. So this lady brought this book for me and she handed it to me. I was not very impressed. And then when I looked at her, she said, गुरु माई ने एक बात और बोला है. उन्होंने बोला कि अपने साहब को बोलना तो यहाँ बुधवार को आएगा तो अच्छा है. So it was Monday morning. She had come straight from the ashram, and Wednesday I had to go. I went to the ashram. Guru Mai gave me Shaktipat even before I had met her physically. I was sitting in the Samadhi of Baba Muktanand and my awareness shifted. I did not really know that this is Shaktipat, this is how it happens. And when I met Guru Mai, I had gone with all kinds of ideas, as a seeker, that I have to ask her these questions, that question. And she just looked at me. I had gone alone and she asked, Kutumb kidhar hai? So I told her it is a Wednesday, my son goes to school, my wife could not come, she will come later. And then she just told me, okay, pointed to a place and said, sit there. And I was quite disappointed because I had thought that there must be some great scriptural debate going on in the Guru's presence and I will ask a question, I will be able to participate in that. Nothing of that sort. And when darshan got over, she just looked at me and she said, oh, Baba ki gufa mein jakar dhyan karo. And that was it. So I was very disappointed. But my life changed. Still that so-called rationalism had this question that, am I getting caught up in a cult? Am I going to surrender my own sovereignty or my own freedom because I will be belonging to a guru or some kind of a community? And that also I got an answer. And then I realized that who the true guru is. The guru is not a person who comes to chain us or bind us to a particular organization. The guru is the only institution which ultimately frees you from all institutions. Because the guru is not interested in disciples. The guru is interested in making the disciple a guru someday. And whatever happens then, you are under training. Training is not easy. You are challenged. Whatever you think you cannot do, the guru will ask you to do exactly that. I was a very shy person. I was very tongue-tied. And within 1 year of meeting the guru, I was given the seva of being a master of ceremonies in the ashram programs. It was a challenge. I never wanted to do it. But that transformed my life because I realized that my mission in life is to talk to people. So how can I do that if I am tongue-tied? So I should become a natural. I was very conscious of, my sort of very simple looks. How are people going to receive me? What will happen? What if somebody asks a question I feel like I cannot answer? But all those doubts, all those questions, they started disappearing. Because I realize that if somebody asks a question that I cannot answer, I will say I don't know. It is that simple. How can you answer something which you don't know? So if somebody asks a question you don't know, you say I don't know. That's it. It is so simple. So there is no identification per se that, oh, I am the teacher, I know something. No, with the teaching comes, it's been the job of teaching has been given by the Guru, or it has been made possible by the Guru only so that I can learn more. And I must tell you that each one of you in that sense is my Guru, because through you I have learnt a lot. I have learned to appreciate people. I have learned to appreciate the difficulties people have. Get out of the judgment. Don't judge people. Everybody is fine the way that person is. Because we are all captives of our own sanskars. So there is something which creates our personality. It is very difficult to break out of the personality. So that challenge is always there. So people will change. So what can we do? I will share here that once I was in a congregation and Guru Mai was talking and she was going abroad and she came up with these simple statements which changed my life completely. She said, you should always look around and you will find that there are people whose lives are on fire. Ask yourself, what can I do for another person? Do something. And the moment she said this thought came, oh my God, this is all meant for her rich devotees. I am a government servant, I can barely meet my monthly expenditure. And how can I help anyone? And it was as if Guru Mai heard this question in my mind. And she said something which made a lot of sense. She said the money is the easiest thing that you can give to another person. You'll just have to open your pocket, give out something, or you have to write a check. There was no digital transaction. It has become more easy now. So she said it is the easiest. But there is something more important than your money. It is your time. So can you give other people your time? There are somebody wants to talk to you. There are so many people in this world, they are suffering. They need somebody who is sympathetic and can speak to them nicely, so that they just want to pour out themselves. So do you give other people your time? Maybe if you listen to somebody and that fellow is in great grief and he just pours his heart out, there will be some healing that will happen. And then she said, somebody is sick, do you hold their hands? Do you wish them well? We have this tendency to be with people as long as everything is going all right. But when they are in distress, we seem to abandon them to their fate. That should not happen. That is not spiritual. Of course, I learned something more on this topic, that how to help, how much to help, how can we help. Because at that time I used to take pity on people who are suffering. But later on I learned that taking pity on people is very bad. It is bad karma. Because you get entangled in the challenge of the other person. So instead of pity, have compassion. So do what you can joyfully do. And if you cannot do something, then forget about it. have this sensibility to wish that person well, but don't get entangled in other people's karma, because there are some people who are always trying to approach you, talk to you, because they need a kind of a dustbin where they can throw in all their garbage. So don't become other people's garbage bin. Help them, but keep your boundaries and refuse to become other people's garbage bin. This is something that was an addition. And then Gurumai said that there is something more important than your time. And she said, it is your good wishes. She said, you go to somebody's house, you never forget to carry a gift. But when you are there in that house, do you take time, take a few moments and wish that house well? Put this intention that let this house be a happy house. Let the family that is living here be a happy family. Let people help each other. Let people experience love for one another. And she said that if you make a pure intention, that intention might work. Who knows? Whether it works or not, you have done your bit. You have done your seva. This is your seva. This is more important than carrying a gift. So she said, always wish other people well. Then she said, there is something more important than your good wishes. And this is the most important thing which happened to me. She said that whatever good you have learned, there are many things that you have learned over the years, maybe from your parents, from your teachers, from your gurus, from the scriptures. Out of those things that you have learned, there is something that you have imbibed. You put it in your life. It has become your practice. And your life has changed because of that practice. So always make it a point to share that practice or that understanding with other people. And do not give preaching. People are not interested in preaching. Share your transformation. Because everybody in this world is interested in transforming their life. There is not a single person who says, I want to be unhappy, I want to be miserable. But they don't know how to work it out. So if you share your own experience, how you got this, then some of these people who are ready, they will accept the method. They will try. Their lives will begin to change. They will experience transformation. And when they are saturated with that transformation, then they will start spreading that teaching to other people. So here's the most important point she gave us, that don't quote scriptures, don't try to preach. Honestly share your experience. Because if you are sharing through the heart, it will reach another person's heart. They will know that you are not telling the truth. You are not making up a story. When we come to share experiences, people say, share your story. That's a wrong word. We read so many stories, they don't change our lives. But when there is somebody directly talking to us and that person is speaking through the heart, then something happens. Our heart begins to melt. We can just get into the shoes of that person and understand what he or she is saying. And then she said, share it with everyone. Most of the time people have this kind of anxiety or fear that what if others don't understand? What if they make fun of me? It doesn't matter. share. That is your job. And when you do this, even that person who is laughing at you will be helped. Because he is still in the mind. Mind does not accept anything easily. But in the heart, his soul knows that what is being said here is the truth. And when you share your experience, you are sharing your truth. Everybody, reads Gita and they are preaching, okay, you are the self, you are immutable, water cannot wet you, fire cannot burn you, air cannot dry you. But how is it going to help people? Nobody has that person who is saying this, has he read, only read Gita, or he has experienced Gita. So only when a person has experienced it, he gets the right to say and preach. So what is our experience in life? We are ordinary human beings. Our lives have changed for some reason. So we must be ready to share that transformation. Forget Gita, forget Bible, forget Quran. It is not going to work. But what is going to work is our own sincere experience of transformation of life. And this is what Guru Mai said, that when that person is helped, if his life changes, at some point of time, he will be in a position to teach what you have taught that person. So through you, that teaching will go to another person, it will light another lamp, and through that lamp, the light will spread to the world. He will start teaching to other people. And those other people will teach other people. So you have made your contribution to the evolution of mankind. So don't give them scriptural teachings. Give them simple things which people can follow, which makes sense, and which has worked for you in your personal life. And she said that even the person who does not believe, who is making fun of you, his soul knows that what this other fellow is telling is the truth. And that soul will remember that. That memory will be deposited in that person's heart. Right now he is totally in the mind, so he cannot access the heart. But that memory will be deposited there. And when he is in dire difficulties, when he cannot find any way out of his problems, then suddenly this memory will sprout. And this teaching will present itself before him. His life will still change. It may take several lifetimes, but don't worry. Your job is to share. Period. So this is what I started. I started talking to people. I have met a guru, and I was a rationalist, so-called rationalist, questioning everything, and they used to make fun of me. See, you have been hypnotized. Fair enough. It is their perception that I was hypnotized, but I for myself know that I am not hypnotized. I am speaking my truth. So I would go on and on. And there were people, my colleagues, who used to make fun of me. They said, they gave me a pseudonym, Brahmanand. My name was Brahma Prakash. They used to started calling me Brahmanand. And one of them one day said very sarcastically, okay, very soon we are going to find you. You will not be in the job. You will resign and go. And we will find you sitting outside our Aikar Bhavan with a begging bowl and asking for alms. That is his perception. How does it matter to me? And then one day it so happened, several months after I had met Guru Mai, that we were in a party with the company of friends and everybody was making fun of us. I and my wife, we both were laughing, enjoying these puns or whatever. And at the end of it, after 3 hours when the party ended and this fellow who was in the forefront of this, the leader of the gang that was making fun of us, he was absolutely soozled, so I offered to drop him home in my car So when we were going, he told me, and he used to call me Chacha for whatever reason. He said, Chacha, you have changed. You are not that person anymore. I said, what happened? He said, we made so much, we cut so much jokes at your expense, and you were laughing. That is the change. You would not have tolerated any criticism whatsoever. So he understood that I had changed. And after that, they stopped making fun of me. And they knew that I was here in this world, I had to do what I had to do. So in spiritual life, it does not mean that we will change or we will become recluse or we will stop being in the world. You be in the world, you do what you have to do. Do the same thing over and over again. But there is an inner shift. The awareness has changed. So we begin to see something which previously is not visible to you. So this is something that creates a space for healing. So it is a healing program. People come from healing for healing. But purpose of healing is ultimately to make it one's business how to make this lifetime or the next lifetime, the last lifetime, and get out of this cycle. But this will happen only when there is complete healing. So day before yesterday, there was this lady, we did a forgiveness session. She was here for the first time. And she said, no, I have healed myself. But she said, I could not do forgiveness. So that means there is no healing. Or even if that healing which happened was superficial, she thought she is healed. But she has not been able to move away or heal the scars that were left in her consciousness for whatever wrong was done to her. So this is the purpose of healing. So we are here to understand. Many of us may have done a lot of bad things. If that knowledge is given to us, many people will just go out and commit suicide. But that knowledge is given to us. God is very kind. That knowledge gets imparted only when you have the ability to deal with that knowledge. It is not given beforehand. But even if whether that knowledge is given or not given, we must understand that there is some karmic thing going on. That is how the birth happens, life after life. So how do we reduce all the karmic things? So do forgiveness, chant God's name. There are so many ways. Whatever works for a person, they should teach. Some people who are rooted in knowledge, they should read the scriptures, read Vedanta, and then follow that. But simple reading will not help unless it starts percolating into one's life. So I had this kind of, this is also healing, it's part of healing, sharing one's own experience. Even though I was in spiritual life, I was quite an egoist. And what I did not like was anybody pointing a finger at me. Somebody making fun of me, I could tolerate. But if somebody points a finger, I would like to break that finger. And I knew that this is something that I have not been able to rise above. This is where the challenge is. So I used to pray to Guru Maya and ask that please show me something and give me a chance to understand how can I rise above this feeling. Somebody is unfairly targeting me, pointing a finger at my intention, questioning my intention, and I just want to finish that fellow. So what do I do? And in spiritual life, when the Guru's grace is there, those opportunities come. So very soon, something happened in my office where I was working. It was a small office. I would not go into the details, but for some reason, a senior who was not even my boss, he confronted me in the corridor and started shouting at me for something I was not responsible for. I had some association with whatever was going on, but I was not responsible for whatever had happened at that time. So I was taken completely by surprise in a corridor. In government offices, you have these the peons sitting outside on the outside all the rooms. There are members of the public coming in and going out, or moving around, or sitting on the benches because their cases are going to come up in some office or the other. And before all this, he was shouting. Now I felt very angry. And I even thought, what is it that I can tell him that will destroy this person before everybody else? But there was a shift. I could see how angry I was, how my these temples, etc., were just, sort of buzzing with anger. I could see my anger, and I could see the response that was coming up. I wanted to say something back to him, to hit him back. I became aware of those words. I became aware of the consequence of those words. How humiliating it would be for that person to be treated by me in this fashion. And my desire to take revenge, or to pay him back in the same coin. And in the next moment, it was like a click. For the first time, I had this experience that I was out of my body. And from the ceiling, I saw this scenario unfold. And I looked at this person. He was so angry for some reason that his facial muscles were twitching. And there was white froth forming at the corners of his mouth. And when I looked at him, I felt great compassion for the man. Why is he so angry when there is no reason for him to be angry? He is behaving like he has been possessed. And then this thought arose. He deserves my compassion. He does not deserve my anger. And the anger left me. And again there was a click, and I just went back to my body, and then I said something totally different to him. I walked up to him, I told him, "Sir, please go to your room." It was lunchtime. "Please go to your room. After a while, after lunch, I will come to you and we can sort whatever is bothering you or bugging you. And it can be settled." And huffing and puffing, he turned around and went back to his room. I went back to my office, my room, had my lunch, and I was sitting doing my work. I had told him that I will come to your room and we can settle what is there, but there was nothing to settle. So I didn't do anything. It was 4 o'clock when I received a ping on the intercom, and I picked up the phone. He was there on the line, and he asked me, "गौड़ क्या कर रहे हो?" कहा, "कुछ नहीं सर, काम अपना कर रहे हैं, कुछ बैठे हैं." "कोई है तुम्हारे कमरे में?" कहा, "नहीं, कोई नहीं." They said, "अच्छा, मैं आता हूँ." He was not the kind of person who would go to a junior fellow's room. So I told him, "Sir, why do you have to come? I will come to your room." They said, नहीं, मुझे ही आना है." I said, "Okay, please come." He came, he sat there. Then for a minute or so, there was some inane talk. And then he came to the point. He said, I have come to apologize to you. I said, why? He said, because I don't know why I was so angry. And when you were so quiet, calm, and you just told me that please go to your room and we'll sit and together and settle this down. When I went back to my room and I just sat down in my chair, I began to see that there was no reason for me to be upset or angry. And I was shouting. I made a fool of myself. So please forgive me. I have come to apologize. And I told him that, sir, you don't know. Through you, God has given me, or my Guru has given me, a tremendous experience today. And you are God's agent in my life. I am not angry with you. I can never be angry with you. In fact, I am grateful to you because you are a divine personality for me. But he was so much caught up in his guilt that he told me that unless you say that you have forgiven me, I will not leave this room. So I told him that yes, if it is so important to you, I am telling you, I have forgiven you. But God is my witness that in the first place I was never angry with you or upset with you. So this is what happens. So this one incident showed me that when the grace is there, that this habit of trying to break the other finger that is pointing in my direction, that habit can be broken. So these are the things that happen when you are in this path. But some steps have to be taken by us. Then the Guru will walk some steps for us and teach us like what my Guru did. I had been praying to her that how do I get out of this habit? And she showed me it is possible. But even then it's a long journey. There are points of time when the trigger will be so strong that your past sanskars will take over and you will get carried away. But with greater awareness, each time it happens, you know that I missed the teaching. So you make an intention, I will not falter again. So you try again. So by doing it and by following the trial and error, God is kind. God is always looking for transformation. But so that is why even if we make a mistake over and over again, even if we get caught up in the same thing over and over again, we should never blame ourselves, we never judge ourselves, because when we do that, we are putting ourselves down. And that will not allow us to heal, because somebody who does not think good of himself or herself, there are two types of people who feel always good about themselves. People who are not aware at all. So some mad fellow might think he has become the king. Now nobody can help him. But a person who always thinks, oh, I am so lowly, I am so difficult, I am so ignorant, even though to that person nobody can help. Because there are some basic things that we must learn. That God has chosen to live inside us as us. Now if God has chosen to live inside us as us, if I am to touch somebody, does that person feel the touch of God? If I am going to talk to somebody, does that person feel the touch of God in my voice or my words? Am I helping that person or harming that person? Quite often, I saw this happening in my offices. There is a boss, some subordinate is not up to the mark. So the boss keeps on tolerating that person for some time. Does not give him a proper feedback. And then one day the volcano bursts. So he calls that fellow, shouts at him so much that the fellow's will to change is damaged. And the personal relationship is immediately destroyed. So that fellow does not improve. And the personal relationship is also destroyed. So we always do this kind of thing in our own families, with our own friends. We try to tell them their faults, thinking that they will change. But we tell these things in a manner where they become resistant to change. They don't change. So how to do this? So this is something that we learned in the ashram, because we were put in groups and we had to work with other people. Everybody came from different field. Everybody had their own ideas. But how do we come to a consensus? How can we work together as one person? And how can we come to a situation where a decision is taken and everybody respects that decision? So this is what we learned. So we had to learn how to deal with people, how to talk to them. So it's a constant journey of transformation. And when I transformed this way, then I suddenly noticed that I am a very much loved person in the office. Everybody wants to work with me. Why? Because they felt secure. People felt that if they make a mistake, I will protect them. If the mistake is bona fide, they will be protected. So it is like this, that it works. And then you heal yourself and you become the instrument of healing other people. So why are we here? We are here just to feel, become aware of our own inner divinity, and to see that divinity in another person and treat that person accordingly. So any questions? Does it seem good? It's my personal story. Since there are a lot of personal things are being said. In the ashram we were given one question. We used to go to the ashram every weekend, and some of the swamis were working with a group of people who used to come from Mumbai. So one fine Sunday, there used to be a session for about an hour or so in the Sunday afternoons. So the Swamiji who was leading these sessions, he gave us a home task. He said, okay, you write about 5 best things that have happened to you and 5 worst experiences that you have had in life. So we both, I and my wife, we both went back home. And one day we decided to write. I decided to write. So I thought, okay, first let me write about the 5 worst experiences. And then I will write about the better ones or the good ones. The worst experience in my life was losing my father. Because I had lost my mother earlier when I was 14. And my father became like the mother also. He took care of so many things. He taught me so many things by his conduct. And when I was 19, he left. 2 days after my graduation results were out. So I felt a void in my life. Of course, my elder brothers were there. They took good care of me. But I had a great disappointment from some of the relatives, elder relatives. My father, though he was not a rich man, he was somewhat poor, but he was a very large-hearted person. He had helped so many people. He was very much respected. So I went to some of these relatives who were beholden to my father. And I was just a young boy, 19 years of age. So I went to them thinking that, they will just put a hand of benediction on my back. They will tell me, don't worry, we are there. I was not looking for money or anything, just some support, emotional support. And I found that when I went to some of these guys, they felt constricted. They just drew back. And I realized that they think that I have come here to ask for some money, and because my father has helped people, they will not be able to say no. And I felt very bad. I came back, and thereafter, till I got on my own, I avoided going to these people. So this was a very difficult, and after my father, there was this kind of a void. Because till the age of 19, whatever I was doing, it was just to please my father. And when he was not there, somehow the purpose or the driving force to do something in life had simply disappeared. So I started writing about it. But when you start writing, you start getting a good perspective on the event. And I began to see one thing, that my father was such a kind of a towering figure, and he was so much in charge of my life that until his death, I had not taken a single decision for myself. What I would study, that was decided by my father. What kind of clothes I should wear, it was decided by my father, because he was the one who would go to the tailor with me and get those stitched. What would I do in life? I had no idea. Whatever my father says, I will do. But in one instant, he was not there. And when he was not there, I had to decide. I was just a graduate, so what should I study? Whether I should do research work. And while I was doing research work, I took a decision to appear for the civil services or go for the bank job. And I got both, though I joined the civil services. Then I had to take a decision about my own marriage. Whom should I marry? So in the job, everywhere, all those things, from the smallest things of life to the most important things, I became responsible for myself. The first realization that came to me was that I used to be a very outspoken person, or a person who had no control over his tongue. Because there was this kind of feeling, my father is there, he will just save me from anything. But when he was gone, the realization came that now I am responsible for what I say to others. And that became a kind of a filter through which I had to pass all my ideas and thoughts and words. And it made a big difference to my life. So when I began to see all this, then this realization arose. It was a painful experience, but it has shaped my life. It has made me what I am today. My love and respect for my father has not lessened in any manner. I still adore him. But perhaps destiny decided that his role in my life was over and I had to be on my own. So I have to be grateful. Not in a bad sense. Nobody wants to lose their father. But even in his going away, he gave me so much. I have to be grateful for that. So with this first, then I and my wife, we started discussing our relationship. We are two totally different personalities. So there were a lot of clashes. But then we realized how, because of the difference of opinion we had, how both of us had grown in our own right. And then all those tips and other things, they did not seem so bad. It felt as if these are learning points in life. So we both went back to the ashram the next Sunday. And when our turn came and the Swamiji looked at us, said, say something, what is it that you have written? We had not written anything. And I got up and I said, Swamiji, we could not find a bad experience. Because things that were bad, they were painful, but they provided great learning and teaching. So thereafter, my assessment of that event changed completely. Then he said, "Come up, come here, both of you. You share what you discussed and experienced." And then we shared. And he said that this is the purpose for which this homework was given. And why I was insisting that you start writing. Because when you write, then you start seeing things differently. When you are writing, you are actually emptying your mind. So when the mind starts emptying itself on paper, there's something which is hidden underneath, which you cannot see right now. You begin to see, and things become clearer. So that was something because of whatever work I was doing, I had to do a lot of writing. So because I was doing some writing work, I was helped in this fashion. But I learnt more about writing 3-4 years ago when I took a kind of a 5-day program in auto writing. So what my teacher said, he said, for 21 days, you sleep with a notebook and pen by your side or on a table near you. And you get up. If you want to go and freshen yourself, do that. But even there is no need for that. You just sit on the table, start writing, whatever comes to your mind. Don't think. Because if you start thinking, then the mind will come into play. Don't think. Whatever words are coming, you start writing. And then she said, don't stop to make a correction. If there is a spelling mistake, don't try to correct it. If a sentence is not formed correctly, grammatically, don't stop to change it. Keep writing. And after a few minutes, you will stop anyway. And then read it. It will be a blueprint of your mind, your subconscious mind. We are all victims of our subconscious mind, or captives of our subconscious mind. But we don't know it. The subconscious mind is like a big iceberg. You see only 1/8 portion which is over the surface. But there is 7/8 or a huge portion which is below the surface you don't see. But when you do this practice of auto writing, just get up and start writing. And you will be able to see. And then something that we all were not sure. We were some 6-7 persons who had joined that session or class. WhatsApp. It was on WhatsApp. There was no interaction per se. She would just record a video and send it to us, which we had to watch. But most people were not sure. So for our first exercise, she said, I am giving you a part of a sentence. You start writing. So the sentence she gave was, once upon a time, on a rainy day. It could be anything. So she said, you just take this part of the sentence and start writing. And I started writing. And I went on writing for quite some time. And I realized that a story was emerging. I'm not a story writer. A story was emerging. We live in Bombay. Lonavala is very beautiful in the monsoon. So I started thinking, one find that there was this place in Lonavala where a party arrived. And then everything started unfolding. And while I was writing this, suddenly this whole thing started coming up that, people go to various guest houses, stay there for some time, be there. But how their lives are intermingled when they go and spend some time together. What happens there? And even the house, a particular house or a guest house, has a soul. It is alive, it's a being. How the guest house looks at whatever is going on there. And there was this beautiful story which was emerging, and in somewhere in the back of the mind there came this thought, how is it going to end? And it ended very beautifully. So I'm not used to writing on paper with paper pen, but I was written that because the teacher had said that you start writing and don't try to make any correction, don't go back. So I written whatever I had written. I took snapshots of that and sent it to my teacher, and she came back with a fabulous or wonderful feedback. And she said you should do this more often. And then suddenly another thing happened while I was doing it. That I had gone for a walk and suddenly something started germinating. And I came and this time I sat on the computer and wrote. I wrote for quite a few hours. And again a story emerged, which was a beautiful story. And it came from one of an Osho remark in one of his books. Osho speaks about how something can suddenly change your life. So he says, एक लाल साहब थे, वो रोज घूमने जाते थे, सुबह सुबह सैर करते थे। एक दिन भी सुबह जा रहे थे, एक गली से गुजरते थे, एक माँ अपने बच्चे को जगा रही थी, उठो लाल, आंखें खोलो। लाल साहब के कान में ये शब्द पड़े, उठो लाल, आंखें खोलो। और लाल साहब सोचने लगे, और लाल साहब बदल गए। So this got expanded into a story running over 8 typed sheets of paper in Hindi. I can share it in the group. I can share both his stories. I'll have to find where they are. But that Lal Sahab story I have narrated on YouTube. It is there. So it is like this, that when we just go get into the subconscious mind, then whatever is there, it starts coming out, and then something great starts coming out, because we all have gone through so many hundreds of lifetimes. We have learned so much. All that knowledge or learning is stored there in the subconscious mind. So if we just allow it to come up, then our lives will become different. So this is some of the very practical tips from my life. This has worked for me. So Sunita, कैसा लगा? Sunita is there? She's gone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sunita.
It was very interesting to listen to your life story, and I think one can draw parallels to it from one's own life, and
Yes.
and probably try and not copy but emulate to a certain extent how to get rid of anger and
Yes. It is
things like that.
important. It is important. Normally the feeling is that if I am not angry, then I'll become a doormat. But the fact is that if one is not angry, you are more in charge of your life. And you can always draw boundaries which people cannot cross.
Okay.
Yeah, as a healer, I experience this. There are sometimes there are people who would like to call me all the time. So there was one lady who kept calling me for about 4 months, 5 months. She had only one problem of relationships. And she would have the same kind of issue over and over again. So what to do? So she was in the habit of just talking about it. It doesn't help because whenever I would give her some practice, then at the end of it, when we should call again, I would ask, "Did you do this practice?" She would say, "No, ये नहीं होता है, घर में इतना काम है, वो फला ऐसे है, मेरे को privacy नहीं है, तो हम नहीं कर सकते, नहीं करते." So the thing is like this, that she has to decide what she can do. If she is not ready to work, then who can help? People think that there is some master or some, I am the chela of my guru, then I will have some supernatural power. I can just put my hand on somebody's head and the problem will be gone. It doesn't happen that way. The guru is a pointer, or the teacher is a pointer. He points the way. This is the way. You go. So one will have to walk. So that responsibility a person has to take to change.
Okay.
And if that responsibility is not to be taken, then you always become, dependent upon somebody else. So how long will this happen? Is it maybe in this lifetime or in another lifetime, you get somebody who are very compassionate, they are there to help. But because you are always using them as support, in another lifetime you will not get that support. Destiny will withdraw that support. So then you are being forced to grow on your own, which will be painful. So that is a lesson we all have to learn. That when we are in a satsang, there is some good company, some good thing is happening. Okay, so what is it that we have learned? And let us put it in our life. And that is how it works. So I told this lady one day that no, you will not call me. She would call me anytime. So I told her, "Madam, I am very busy. I don't have time. So next time when you call me, you send me a message and ask for some time. And I will give you the time." So I knew that even though I give her the time, she will not call me on that time, at that time. So she would message me, "Bhai Saab, I want to talk to you urgently." And I say, "Okay, call me tomorrow morning at 8. Now she will call me in the night, the next day. So my reply was stuck that I gave you this time, you did not call me, then why are you calling me now? So gradually she began to see that I had created this boundary that she had to respect. If she is sincere, if there is a question that is bothering her so much and you give her time, then she must call at that time. If she does not want to do that, then I am not her secretary, whom she can order around all the time. Of course, if there is an emergency, there's something, yes, one is always open. We are here to help one another. But people must learn to be on their own and follow whatever is being told to them. So one who is, look at our gurus, look at the great masters. They all have been great disciples. So because they had unwavering faith in the guru, whatever the guru told them, they just followed. They became gurus in their own right and great masters. So that is how it works.
So,
Yes, Leelaji.
what you said about your experiences, I
Yes.
find practical lessons for us. There's
I
so
know.
many you have illustrated through your experience how we can transform ourselves.
Yes.
From where tips are there. So it is not just by reading some self-help. You actually see someone who has done.
एक second. Somebody is talking. I'll just mute others. Yes. Leela ji, you go ahead now.
So what I was saying was your experiences have given practical practical lessons. It is not like just reading some self-help book. It is actually true that one can transform oneself.
Yes,
And
that,
practical tips which can be followed. Not
yes.
just control your anger, be calm. See that?
So these are empty statements. These are empty statements.
Now your actual experience has given a way, how, a way to do that.
You see,
So thank
but the thing is, Leela ji, that everybody will have their own method.
yes.
My method may not work for everybody, but if a person, see, in his spirituality, when we are sincere about something, we pray to the masters, we really want to change, then the grace takes over. And
What
grace makes it possible
yeah.
to give
What
you
you
that
said,
opportunity.
sir, what you said about that boss was angry with you, that has got something universal in it. What you said.
Yes.
Your experience, I find if we can, all of us can make use of that. The manner of, remaining calm and giving time and not suppressing the anger, at the same time transforming the anger.
Transforming the anger, yes.
So then only the anger will go. Others will come back to haunt us again.
But in that case, I will not give credit to myself.
I love that story.
The credit is to my guru.
Yes.
She gave me
Ultimately,
that experience of out of body experience, the first experience that I had, just like
and
that.
I am grateful to the Guru for making you tell us this. Ultimately, it is that.
Yes, it is grace. It is grace. But when we have, that kind of humility in the heart and surrender to that power of grace, then it happens. It works.
I find the sessions very useful. What this satsang. I keep thinking about these things. I make notes. So thank you so much, sir.
No, no, it's my pleasure. In fact, what happened, to be honest with you, I will show you. I was late for the session, so when it started, I did not know what I was going to do. So I created, all the bird, all the bowls, set up the pipes, everything,
Hmm.
and suddenly, as the session started, I saw Mohini ji and I asked her how she is because I had never, I had spoken to her very briefly. And so out of that conversation, this whole thing came. And then this idea came that why not speak about my own transformation? We all seek healing, but healing is a journey into transformation. And if we can somehow get transform our lives, then the purpose of this life will be achieved. That
And
is the
another
reason.
thing is what you said about writing down. Writing.
That is something which is very helpful, but people don't want to do that because sometimes some kind of that inner garbage will start pouring out. So, but it is like a mirror. You see yourself in a mirror.
It's good that garbage comes out.
Yes. So it is a process of purification. So when things which are not very palatable, they start coming out in the writing. That is when they are being taken out of the system.
So, Baisab, the way I understand is that you're saying write with a free flow without editing whatever comes to your mind.
Yes, that is it. That is it. That is it. It is very, very, it's a wonderful experience. Anybody who does it for 21 days, it is the guarantee that there will be major transformation in their life.
On a fixed time or any time through the day.
No, no. First thing in the morning.
Okay.
Because, then the mind has not been colored by the day. So when you get up, you give yourself. And then what happens is that someday, even just one sentence will come. And someday you may be able to fill 3 pages. So don't worry about the number of words or the number of pages you are using. Just be with the flow and whatever comes up, write. So if just one sentence comes up, okay, that is your mantra for that day. You stop. The whole idea is to be able to write not from the mind, but from the subconscious mind or the heart. So that's it. And it works wonders. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
It was a wonderful, satsang. I enjoyed myself talking.
Yes, I also enjoyed.
It gives me a chance to relive some of those experiences that I had. And I can, there's so much of a gratitude that wells up in the heart. How can a person ever thank the Guru or the Guru principle? It is not possible. So the only thank you process is that go out and serve others. So that's it. Anyway, we have gone far beyond the time. So thank you everyone
Thank you, sir.
and have a great evening. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai.